Okay, guys, last post on the transmission here real quick. But, I've seen a lot of guys pull transmissions in their garage, kind of the do-it-yourself at home. I've seen a lot of different ways people do it. I saw a guy wrestling one of these little 4L60Es, 700Rs. This guy's got some electronics. You can see it right here. And it's got the speedometer attachment right there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, right there. And, I took a little plate. I don't know if you've got a weld or not, but I took some plate. Just got some square plate. I measured the size of a turbo 400 transmission pan because they're pretty wide. That 400 pan covers that entire thing. I took 2 pieces of angle iron and welded to the side. Hold that thing on there. And I could drill some holes and put some straps across it for some chain or whatever I wanted to do, but that works just great. I actually took some chain one time and just lipped it right there and went up and over the transmission to the other side. And, the problem is my jack's cheap. So what I did on the other side of the jack is I just simply welded it in there and drilled a pin. And let's see if you guys can see that. Welded that pin right there on the bottom, went right through it. And man, I've used this thing on these 2 S10s more than you can imagine. It's come in handy a lot. But this is White Lightning, we'll call her. And I got this thing already swapped. It's got air conditioner and a heater in it. Every bolt on this thing was loose, but we'll get to that later down the road. And it's got a little Vortec 350 in it. It's interesting. I've heard a lot of guys what motor mounts to use, what motor mounts not to use. I will tell you on this one, in taking this transmission out, there's a lot of things you want to factor in when you do this. But if you guys see that motor mount, that's one way to do it. I showed the other video a minute ago where I did it. And I notched that whole thing right there a little bit more because it was already done by a previous guy. He put a little piece of 1/2" by 1/2" tubing in there. And I went back with 3" by 3" angle. It was, it wasn't quite a 1/4 inch thick, but it was dang near implement steel. Alignment on these things when it comes to transmissions, why am I talking about this? Because transmissions are key. Where it's at, for drag racing, the further the motor is back, the better weight suspension. A lot of guys on the front, they'll use 90-10 shocks. Yeah, complete with bird's nest and everything right there. Yeah, poor guy. He's gonna have to find him another home. The further it sits back. Now this one, it's back there. It's definitely back there. But this little bad boy is not going to see a different motor. It's gonna let this thing live. I have no idea how many miles are on this thing. By no means is it gonna see nitrous. Is it gonna see any power adder? No turbo. Everyone's like, let's put a turbo on these things or whatever and get an S10 and make them fast. Well, as you look around underneath here, it's got some pusher fans, which, they're not as good, but they get the job done. I've got pullers on this one. I broke that, getting it off the jack when I put that turbo 400, they're pretty tall. But I got some pullers on this one, obviously, but I got a transmission cooler on this bad boy. I mean, that thing should never get hot. Should never. And notice I went with some nice AN fittings. And, really accessible right here. Super easy to work on. I call it the convenience hole. Everything's convenient to work on that thing. I can do whatever I want. This is a little different. This has functioning air, AC, heater, all that good stuff, but why am I going over this? Because you can see how far back this thing is. That distributor coming out without the motor coming out? Oh, probably not. It's, you got another couple inches. You got another foot, no, another 4 inches before you're in the radiator right there. And that radiator could be tucked up a little bit more up and underneath there. On that one over there, I cut the core support a little bit, and I saw a buddy, these S10s are getting pretty popular. I saw a buddy the other day with a complete aluminum core support. It was 1/2". It was really nice. It was all 1/2". He took the factory one out. It was all welded up real nice. It was hollow. Really nice and shiny and light. But, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, getting this thing farther back was what he was shooting for, but the motor mounts on a small block Chevy versus an LS are totally different. I didn't really realize that. Maybe if I'm wrong, correct me. But, you know, maybe it was just the fact that he tried to use the standard motor mounts and didn't go with Dirty Dingoes. I did use Dirty Dingoes on the 82 over there, on Little Duke. And they were really nice. You know, I've heard a lot of different comments on that. But what am I talking about here? Because drive shaft placement, you know, obviously with this guy, you got to consider that drive shaft. So a lot of people want to try to get that, you know, placed right there. And they want it further back for traction. You know, some guys put 90-10 shocks up front, put double adjustables in the back, try to transfer that weight on a truck as much as you can. There's a lot of things you can try to do. Cow trucks, you know, mono leaf springs, split monos, you know, whatever. There's a lot of different things, but I just wanted to show you guys, you know, if you had never taken one of these little jewels out, give you a little trick. This guy, if you look there, that is the only bolt. I don't know if you can see it. It's the only one that has any type of wear pattern. It's because that one wasn't there, nor was that one, nor that one, nor that one, or that one. So it had one bolt, and I just got lucky with my fingers and loosened it off, and it was loose. So, you know, I looked at the housing. Housing doesn't look split. You know, would I do that with an LS? Absolutely not. Would I do that when it goes back in? No, it's going to have at least 4. I may not get to the top 2, but on Little Duke over there, I just cut the floorboard and pulled the carpet, cut the floorboard, and made me some tin metal and riveted it back in. So there's one way to fix that, to access that bolt, because when you look down in there, it's a tight fit, guys. I mean, it's a real tight fit. You're not going to get to it from the top on this one. If I had the hood up on that one over there, I'd show it to you, but you are not getting it from the top. So anyway, here's my cool little, you know, next to nothing plate and angle. I don't remember how long. It's about 1 foot long, I think, and a foot and a foot, and I just cut it, and I've got a pretty good welder. I've been working on my TIG, I MIG'd that in, but anyway. So anyway, guys, there's how you get these transmissions out. There's what there is to it. There's, on these 4L60s, there's a screw there that holds the harness. That you just, the plug on the side, you just squeeze them. Boom, easy. That took me a while to figure out. And it's got, when you put it back in, it's kind of slotted there. It's got that slot, so it goes back in. This is your speedometer cable over here. And this is your linkage right there for that. And so, guys, fairly easy. Transmission cooler lines, obviously dipstick. Make sure you get that dipstick out of there, but it'll naturally come out as you try to drop the transmission down. This guy's gonna go to the transmission shop. Hopefully I won't have the saga that I've had with the Little Duke over there in the 400. Hopefully this little 4L60 will go back in and it'll run, spend the rest of its life. I think I'm gonna go back with a converter. This thing will be a daily driver, legit, you know, it's gonna see 120 miles a day. So, but, you know, I'm going to try to help that little 350 out, give it a little converter, little street combo, and because this guy's pretty much factory, and I'm here to tell you that thing is heavy. It's heavy, heavy. So, anyway, guys, man, if you have any questions on how to get that out, that was pretty simple. You know, it's taken me about 6 hours to pull this thing. I did drop the exhaust a little bit, just so I had some clearance. You know, I made the exhaust on Little Duke myself, welding it, cutting it, pie cutting it. I could show you that. But on this guy, he did a really good job. What was nice, if you go to put an exhaust yourself, let me crawl underneath here. Apologize for the Blair Witch Project. But he actually bent those, had those bent to where you could actually pull the transmission straight down, and it wasn't even in the way. So I did loosen this up, but you see it doesn't move much when I push on it, so it didn't really need to be. But I'm gonna go back in and change that cable. That is not a throttle cable. It gets the job done, but I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do on that right there. That may be a little bit of the reason why I was having a hard time. But this thing hadn't started in, it's stickered in 2017. And so there's what he did on the exhaust. Just two little, looks like they're Flowmaster 40s or something. But it doesn't have the cats. I'll figure that out later. Nothing that a blade wouldn't cut out of there, and find some pipe and put it back together. I don't know. Can't remember what year model Cadillacs have to have. Fuel lines are right up there. And so I'll probably drain the fuel while I'm here and all that. But once I get closer to getting this thing fired up, I'll go over all the things. I have no idea what's going to happen with fuel injection. It's an OBD1, so, you know, HP tuners. I've been doing HP tuners for a while. HP tuners. I don't have an OBD1. So anyway, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'll tackle that when I get there, but it's out, and didn't even really make too much of a mess on the floor. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some new yokes in the drive shaft when I do, because they were pretty spent. I don't think the rear drive shaft ever came out, but it is now. So, but anyway, guys, thanks for watching.